It's been well over 3 years, ever since the release of The Rise of Skywalker, that really marked the end of the sequel trilogy films, and exactly where J.J. Abrams left off with the Star Wars franchise as a whole. Ever since then, we've seen a lot of things, crafting from Lucasfilm and Disney, from the Kenobi series, to the Boba Fett show, to the Mandalorian, and we've seen a lot of up and down cycles within the fandom based on those projects. This is Mike Zero. Subscribe if you're new, and like this video to see future Star Wars updates. I'm also on Twitter at Mike01. I thank you all so very much for the great and kind support. Now, there's a lot of things going on when it comes to all of the upcoming movies, the full slate of the films, as well as the upcoming Star Wars shows, which, by the way, will be announced at this year's D23, which takes place in September, so looking forward to that as well. And, we got a lot of things that are being led by Jon and Dave, and meanwhile, Tony Gilroy, the maker of Andor and Rogue One, is also going to be getting more Star Wars shows to work with, so that's something to really look forward to as well. But going back to Daisy Ridley and what she recently had to say about the character of Rey, and everything related to the future of the character, her new identity, and more, this is where things begin to brew and get a little bit engaging. I know a lot of fans out there have been very, annoyed and upset over the fact that the Rey movie is going to be the first film of the full slate of Star Wars movies so far in 2025. So that's one reason why I think a lot of fans are having a bigger problem with it, is that not only are they getting a movie that's centered on Rey, but it's going to be the first film in a long time since Episode 9's release. But moving on to the next big thing here is that with many new projects being developed right now behind closed doors from Disney and Lucasfilm. However, in a recent interview with actress Daisy Ridley, she went on to reveal new details about the Rey-centered Star Wars movie and was able to confirm a couple of things about what writer Stephen Knight is setting up for the new Jedi Order era. Ridley went on to state the following to the fans. What we have going on for this film, I can assure everyone, is going to be upper-class stuff. Knight is doing some pretty big things with my character, and fans can expect to learn more about Rey's backstory and some new revelations relating to her identity that will be altered in the coming project. It's something I know Lucasfilm has long been waiting to do, and that this project led by Steven is going to establish those changes. Obviously, I really can't go into full details on what this means. However, what fans like to call retcons, or whatever they like to call it, I guess that's what it's called. And it's actually pretty exciting, and this isn't the only project that will be focusing on these changes to Rey's backstory. We also have another project that I am somewhat involved in, that I really can't open up about just yet, but fans will learn about that later this year. Now keep in mind, everybody, that there is another project that's being worked on by Lucasfilm that involves both Jon and Dave Filoni. That's going to be a post-Episode 9 series, basically, alright? And in this series is going to basically take place well after the Rey-centered film, roughly 25 years this time, after Episode 9. That would place it 10 years after the events of the Rey film, which takes place 15 years after Episode 9. So, obviously, there's a lot of things happening with the Rey character. They want to focus on changing and reinventing that character, really shifting things around to kind of create some more entertainment value to this character. That I think Disney is fully aware that there's a lot of fans out there that really don't support this character all that much in comparison to, let's say, for example, Ahsoka or Luke or Vader or something around those lines, right? Now, look, I had my problems with Rey in the sequels, but there were bits and pieces in those movies that she really worked out very well in. I think that she has a chance to become a more valuable character if and only if written correctly by Stephen Knight. If obviously Lucasfilm is just gonna do the same old and water the character down and just push her using an agenda, it's not gonna work. But from what we are hearing about this post-Episode 9 series that's being led by Jon and Dave, at least in that show, the character will indeed be fully reinvented. And there's going to be a starting point to that in the Rey movie to a degree. Will it really be enough to convince fans? That's the bigger question, right? Now, moving on to the next thing here is that she goes on to elaborate further. I got the chance to meet with John and Dave, and they are just incredible people to work with. I just love their passion. The story of Rey is only going to evolve and change over time, and who she really is and where she came from. I think Steven really wanted that to be a thing to make her more interesting, and what kind of backstories they could really explore. One hint I can provide is that Rey will have these strong connections to a legacy character. That much I can confirm and open up about to the community, and we will leave it at that, for now, for everyone to guess about and have fun with. I am just so thrilled to see how these creators are rebuilding Rey into something new, and I would just say something perhaps different. Now, those two words there that Daisy Ridley puts out, both new and different, is interesting about how those are being applied to the Rey character, not just in the upcoming Rey-centered film, but also in this post-Episode 9 series that's being led by John and Dave, so just be aware about that. It's interesting, to say the least, because we know that Rey as a character is a very controversial character, right? Number one, she's associated with the sequels, and a lot of fans have issues with those movies. I, however, enjoy parts of those movies. I may not enjoy them consistently, and I've made this openly clear a dozen times, but I enjoy the movies to a degree where I like specific scenes that are scattered. You know, I like the Rey and Kylo Ren fight. I actually thought that was very much well choreographed and well shot. I like the whole entire, scenario in The Force Awakens where we get to see, Luke Skywalker at the end on the edge of the cliff. There's little things like that stand out to me that I really do cherish and enjoy. But consistently, the entirety of these sequel movies, I just really am not well invested in them. I'm not really all that engaged. So there's a lot of things that need to be prepped and fine-tuned for the character of Rey to really make a bigger impact than what they are hoping for. So that's basically what it comes down to, is that they really have to go above and beyond with these changes. And what Daisy Ridley is talking about with these changes to her identity and how she's going to have connections to another legacy character, stuff like that, it does match directly up with the leaks that we've been talking about how there are a lot of identity changes coming for Rey in future projects. Again, I think it's just because Disney realizes that maybe making her a Palpatine at the end of the day strictly was just a mistake. So we've talked about this. What's being done is that the plan is to make her both a Kenobi and a Palpatine. Essentially, her father is a descendant of Palpatine, and the mother is going to be a descendant of the Kenobi bloodline. That's the overall general plan right now by Lucasfilm, to make her a combination of two legacy characters from the dark and the light. So overall, guys, I would like to hear what you all have to say about this entire scenario below in the comments. And if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel, and I will catch you guys next time.
Night